Belcarra progressed, it became apparent that many of the issues under investigation were recurrent, and similar matters had been examined by this agency or its predecessor, the Criminal Justice Commission and the then Crime and Misconduct Commission. In our view, the time has come to resolve issues with the local government framework, and I'm confident our package of 31 recommendations will achieve much needed reform. Operation Belcarra identified widespread non-compliance with the Local Government Electoral Act. We also identified deficiencies in how the Electoral Commission of Queensland, ECQ, currently operates, and we recommended changes to broaden its role and increase its resources. The CCC will not pursue criminal prosecutions where it identified the current framework may have contributed to the non-compliance or where the time period for a prosecution has expired. Most of these offences are what's called simple offences, where the time frame is a 12-month window. However, you should all note that a number of matters remain under active investigation by the CCC, and for obvious reasons I won't be able to go into the specific details of those matters today, but I can assure you those are ongoing. We felt it was more important to have the report with the recommendations to fix what we say is a clearly broken system, tabled and acted upon as a matter of priority, rather than wait for the full investigation to be completed. The 31 recommendations would create new obligations for candidates, councillors, donors and the ECQ to ensure equity, transparency and integrity and accountability is improved during local government elections and in the ongoing administration of council business across Queensland. For context and accuracy, the full recommendations are outlined in the report. I encourage the public and all of you journalists to read the report to understand the context of why we've made these recommendations. But before I take questions, I thought I'd list some of the key recommendations we've made following Operation Belcarra. We've recommended the prohibition on donations from property developers to local government councillors and candidates, the prohibiting of councillors and candidates from soliciting a donation from a property developer, considering the introduction of expenditure caps for campaigns, requiring candidates to disclose expenditure in real time in addition to disclosing donations received during their election campaign, requiring candidates to disclose details of a donor even if the donor has donated via a third party, which is something common to the findings in the report, prohibiting the receipt of gifts or donations within 7 days of an election, changing the definition of what constitutes a group of candidates, donors are specifying at the time of a donation if they have a development application or other contracts linked to a council, introducing a positive onus on candidates who receive donations to advise the donor of their disclosure obligations at the time a donation is received, amending planning laws so development applications must include a statement disclosing if anyone associated with the application has made a declarable gift or donation or electoral-related expenditure relevant to the particular council or councillors assessing the application, increasing penalties for non-compliance to existing regulations, especially with respect to the requirement to submit timely and accurate disclosure and to operating a dedicated bank account. To address how conflicts of interest are managed, the CCC recommends legislative reform so other councillors in the room decide if a councillor has a conflict and therefore should take no part in a decision or vote, rather than allowing individual councillors to decide for themselves. The CCC also recommends the advisory and public awareness functions of the Queensland Integrity Commissioner be extended to local government councillors to help provide advice to them on possible conflicts of interest. The CCC also recommends a number of changes to the ECQ to ensure they have the adequate resources and powers to more effectively administer local government elections. And these recommendations include amending the disclosure return forms to ensure they capture all information required to be disclosed by the law to assist candidates and donors comply with their obligations. Improving the use of the electronic disclosure system to make more data available to the public, and resourcing the ECQ to monitor compliance adequately. That's a brief snapshot, ladies and gentlemen, of the nature of the recommendations, and I'm happy to take some questions from you.
Your report mentions mayor's pay cuts. What are your concerns with them?
I think our concerns are fully outlined in the report. A lack of transparency and accountability, and the package and suite of recommendations considered in their totality seek to address those shortcomings.
Are those two people ones that you consider not yet finished?
No, I'd rather not particularise who it is we're continuing to investigate. That's not something new, that's just our ordinary policy. We've made it clear in the report, and as you would be aware, there is an ongoing concurrent investigation, in particular into Ipswich City Council. Because those matters are ongoing, I'm not prepared, nor should I, discuss the details of those, and nor should I discuss the particular individuals who are the subject of those investigations.
You mentioned the 12-month period that statute of limitations in line.
Yes.
Should persons think that they are off the hook?
Look, not really. I said publicly before we started the public hearing process that the public hearings into this broken system were about exposing that fact and developing ways through the evidence and discussions and submissions about how that system could be fixed. That's what this report's all about. It has uncovered widespread non-compliance with offences that are, as I say, termed simple offences, most of which cannot now be prosecuted because they're out of time. But they wouldn't have been the sorts of offences that we would pursue individuals over, especially in cases such as a failure to lodge a accurate disclosure return, where they have corrected the return in subsequent days. And even after this inquiry was called, some people, as you know, from the details in the report, lodged returns after we became involved. Those matters, offences though they are not the sort of things in the public interest we would pursue. It's really not serious enough to engage our jurisdiction in that sense. But the report seeks to address those issues by reform, and that's what the recommendations do.
That's a member from the Crime and Corruption Commission speaking there in Brisbane about plans to ban political donations from property developers. They've made a number of recommendations to the Queensland Government as part of this report. They said that more transparency, integrity and accountability was needed when it comes to local councils.